Hello guys, this video will show you a really cool method for retopologizing your meshes here and getting nice clean results here that you may not be aware of. So this is a new character I'm working on for my Ultimate Sci-Fi Soldier course. He's still a work in progress. I call him the Ronin. Link to my Ultimate Sci-Fi Soldier course in the description. Essentially, you learn how to use polygons in Max, Zbrush sculpting and plasticity to make some really nice sci-fi soldiers. So this is just the latest edition. But anyways, here's how we can do this. So let's say I'll select this here, and I'll just go ahead and hold Control to mask off some parts. Let me subdivide first. All right, so I'll go ahead and hold Control to mask off some areas here. All right, and let's go with something something like this. I'll get all of the inside here, all right, and I'll just go ahead and get something like that, and I'll go ahead and I'll just use extract on that. Oops, let me also remove all this right here. All right, and I'll just go ahead and extract that, and I'll go ahead and accept that. All right, so here's our new mesh. All right, now I'll go ahead and activate Dynamesh. All right, and then I'll go ahead and do the usual. I'll go ahead and just do some trim dynamic just to get some interesting things happening here. Alright guys, so I've got something like this. So let's say you want to go ahead and retopologize either for exporting, or you want to go ahead and use some Z modeler. It's obviously way too dense right now and bad topology and all that. So, you know, the first option is to go into ZRemesher, and you know, with the default value we got 5. So that's gonna ZRemesh it, but it's gonna be too dense, and the problem here is that you're not gonna get those. If you want to create like a nice little edge extrusion, you're not gonna get that because it doesn't really capture the edges very well. So the first option is to maybe you know, decrease this. Let's try 0.1, ZRemesh that. But you're gonna notice it just becomes a mess right here. But let's go ahead and Control-Shift-D to duplicate that. That's gonna be like a nice little control object for us to go back with. So Control-Shift-D. So we can always go back and see what ZRemesher does. So let's do like, you know, 1 for example. All right, so kind of a mess. So now I'm going to show you this method I discovered. So you go ahead and double click right here, and you go into Z plugin right here, and you left click and drag that into the left, and you're going to get a Z plugin menu right here. So we're going to go ahead and use Decimation Master. We're going to go ahead and pre-process the current, and we're going to go ahead and use like 1 for example. So here's the cool thing about Decimation, guys. It actually is very good at preserving the edges here. As you can see, it perfectly preserves the sharp edges that we actually want in our retopologized mesh. So what ZRemesher can't do, and you know, even if you guys use something like if you guys go ahead and use like sharp edges for example, detect edges, I've seen that doesn't really do a good job. But Dynamesh or a Decimation actually does a very good job of keeping the sharp edges. So we can kind of play around with this 0.75. So I'm just comparing 1% versus 0.5. All right. Alright guys, so now what we can do is go into polygroups, and we can use binormals right here. 45 is way too high, we can lower that. And so now, we've got this right here. And you can also go ahead and open up ZModeler, and you can go ahead and use a polygroup. So you hold down Alt and you hover over this to select faces. Then you left click and you press Alt multiple times to change to a different color. Alright. And so now what you can do, actually, let me go ahead and change something different. Alright. So now what you can do is you can go into creases. Alright, so there's two options. We can right click on the edge and click on delete. And so now I can go in here and get kind of clean this up a little bit here with a quad topology. Now it's not going to be a perfect quad result, but it may actually be very good for further subdividing and detailing. I'm going to hover the vertex, we're going to slide right there. So we just kind of hover over here and remove the edges here to get some nice, quads as much as we can. All right, so that's one option right there, and we can just then, get straight into insetting and extruding. All right, so that's one thing we can do, is just kind of continue doing our modeler just straight from Decimate. All right, the other thing we can do is we can crease this, crease by polygroup. Then we can subdivide this. Now we've got this. You can now use a zero mesher again, but now we're going to zero mesh with very nice clean results here. And of course you can see I could have gone in here and further given this the same polygroup, for example. So you can take your time a little bit here to get cleaner results. But now with zero mesher we can use keep groups. And you're able to see we get a much more superior zero mesher result. In fact, much better than what it was at the beginning, which, if you remember, was this right here. So compare this to this, and you will see we get very clean results right here. Let's actually make it a little bit more complex. Let's make it like 0.25. All right. And maybe 1. So just kind of modulate that. And as you can see, guys, very clean zero mesh results. So as you can see, this is a fantastic method. And so you can now either export this to your Polygon program, where it's going to do the rigging and animation rendering, or you can continue to work with this using zero mesher. Now this is very good topology for using zero mesher. And we're able to get some really cool results like so, guys. So I find myself use this method a lot, guys. I think it's very efficient. I think it definitely produces very nice results here with minimal effort. And you can get very crisp, clean edges here, because as it turns out, guys, Decimation Master is very good at preserving those edges. Even here, for example, let me go ahead and quickly Control D that. I mean, you can see how blurry this is, guys. You can see. Let's pretend this is a Dynamesh. It's very blurry here. It's not as sharp as we want it to be. Well, if we pre-process that, and if we decimate that, and we can lower that more. I mean, look at how good Decimation Master is at turning those blurry edges into something nice and sharp right here. As you can see, guys, it's very good. Of course, you want to go ahead and use Edge Polish more and Pinch more to help it. We can just see how good it is at preserving those sharp edges there. So, guys, becoming a better 3D modeler, 3D artist is all about kind of learning nice ways to use your tools and unexpected ways to use your tools. So, once again, set up your custom menu right here, and you can just go into group by normals real quick here. Something like that. And then, crease my polygroup and then subdivide that. And you can see this in this situation, I would want to go in here with the ZModeler and maybe quickly give this a separate group right there. Once again, left click and then hold, left click and hold, and then press Alt to cycle through the colors. Right, so you can go in here to do this right here. All right, I'm gonna once again crease polygroups, subdivide that. And then use a zero mesher. Make sure keep groups is on. You can see it's not too bad, but we got a little bit of strangeness right there. All right, so as you can see, we just get this nice result right here. And we're able to further model this. And then when you throw things like vertex sliding into the mix, you can kind of clean up the result right there. And you can get some very nice results here. Alright guys, I hope you found this method useful. Thank you for watching and take care. And I would also like to thank God for inspiring me, because without his help I would be probably dead by now. So thank the Lord.